Hello viewers, I'm your host Qaiser Dar and photography is the topic today. I mean, we all take pictures, don't we? Since we live in one of the beautiful places on this planet, Kashmir, we all try to take pictures of the mountains, the lakes, with our friends and family to capture memories and save them. But today, if you talk about photography, it takes a lot more than that to be an expert in this field. You have to work hard, be dedicated, consistent, and sacrifice as well. And today we are going to introduce you to, and I have the pleasure to speak with one of the proclaimed photographers of India and the world. She has done fabulous, amazing work in documenting birds throughout the world and India as well. We're talking about Jainy Maria. Hello ma'am, welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine ma'am, how are you?
Yes, yeah, good. Thank you for this opportunity, and let's see what we can do today.
Yeah. Let's talk about your life, man. I came to know that you're a chemical scientist,
yes,
a chemical engineer, and now you're a professional and expert in photography. How did your journey start?
I finished my PhD, and I was working in General Motors Research and Development, it was very interesting how I came into bird photography actually. So my senior colleague, her name is Garima. So Garima Bhatia, she was already into birding that time. So she told me once, that there are these birds and all that, so she saw some birds in Goa. She saw, kind of displayed, some photographs. So it was nice. And then interestingly, another colleague, he went to Andamans and then he came back and then he showed a very beautiful picture of this collared kingfisher. His name is Karthik Ramanathan. So then wow, it looks really beautiful. So that feeling had really come. Then I started going out with Garima on the weekends especially, and then we used to bird in and around in Bangalore, and that is how it started. So yes.
So it wasn't a thing from the beginning, like your childhood?
No, actually, see, I can say that because I grew up in a very big farmhouse in Kerala, and my mother, she's always interested in colors. She gets excited when beautiful flowers. So she was already behind these colors and all the things. So I was in that natural setup when I grew up. So I didn't know that I like it, and probably I'll come later into photography and all that. I didn't know at that point of time. And also my dad was a very good photographer. He worked in Middle East. So he has another friend who was who owned a studio at that time. So he also gave me a lot of tips about photography and all that when we were children. Yeah. So I used to call them Krishna Jaitan, and his name is he was a school teacher, and now he's retired. And so he used to come, and I used to look forward to him for photographs and all that. So we had that in our
genes only.
Yeah, the setup was there. Okay. But then I didn't know that I like it so much. But birds probably because of the colors, I would say. Yes.
Okay, that's why you chose birds.
Yes.
That was another thing I wanted to ask.
Yes, it's colors.
It's colors.
Colors, yes. Colors, and then it's a living touch, right? When you see other flowers, probably feel though they are living, you probably do not feel that much. But when you see birds, you have that touch. Okay, there's some life moving. Yes.
Exactly. How many years have you been in this profession now?
See, this is not my profession. Let me be clear with that. This is my passion. So I have been photographing birds probably about now 13 years now. So it's about from 2008 I started watching birds, and I was not a good photo. I mean, now also I do not consider us that good. But
that won't be true, Vivis. She's an amazing photographer for sure. So,
thank you. So I started with minimal kind of exposure to photography, and then as and when I progressed, then I realized that along with the theories or with the basic concepts of photography, I think we also need to have that reflexes in the field to capture whatever we need. So I think that is one which you can develop in the field.
So Jainy ma'am has been in this profession for 13 years. We would like to know, ma'am, how many different species of birds have you clicked so far?
I do not have an exact number, but probably in India, I basically count the India birds just for the sake of counting it. So from the subcontinent, or like we in the birders term, we call it lifer. Like when you see the bird for the first time, we call it a lifer.
Okay.
So probably I would have around 1,100 plus birds out of the 1,300 bird odd species in our country. Yeah. So I would have photographs, maybe more than that. So this is the ballpark figure.
More than.
Yes, more than 1,100, 1,100, or like more than that.
Yeah.
For sure.
What I came to know through my research is like around 1,200.
Yeah, you can say that.
How many are there in India?
We have 1,350.
1,350.
Yeah.
So you're almost done.
Yes, whatever is possible, like to cover in terms of like residing species and all, I have done. But there are this vagrant or straggler birds which you get also. So that some of them have missed, or we don't know the location, we are yet to find. And then there are some other very rare kind of birds, like for example, we have not been we do not know the exact numbers or location exactly. Like Jainys Qaiser is a very important bird for all birders are looking forward to have to see it at least. So these kind of birds, they have a very range restricted species. So these and all the places has to come up. So I have left many of those kind of birds. And also pelagic birds. Pelagic birds are those birds which we go to the sea, the open sea, and take.
Yeah.
So these also the sighting of these pelagic birds also depend on weather conditions. Usually we get in very good in monsoon because the wind blown birds, the storm. So these are factors which favors the sightings. But then that time venturing into the sea is difficult. So there are these kind of birds which I have left in the country, like some which I am yet to click.
Okay.
So otherwise, what is possible by traveling or is seen for like at least 1 week in the same place, I have probably clicked.
So it does sound like it's an easy job, but it's not. Definitely not. We have to be quite patient, I believe.
Yes, maybe too, like if you are a casual birder also, we can probably reach a count of about 700, 800 birds, just being a good birder. But then after that, it requires a lot of dedication and a lot of travel. Also carrying a camera, it becomes a little bit, so you need definitely dedication and passion for that. So yes.
All right. Among all these birds, even I believe it might be a difficult question to ask again. Like, which ones are your favorite?
I mean, almost all of them are my favorites. But very richly colored birds becomes when you see pictures, you see like very colored, multicolored, very iridescent colored birds. Then wow, we will say so. There are stunner birds like that. So there are several such beautiful, stunning birds. But maybe my favorites are tragopans. These are like fowls. Very attractively colored birds, pheasants actually. So these are like very very interesting kind of birds, unique birds where our hearts stop functioning. Like when you see them, it's like super stunning. But there are very small birds also, and they are very challenged to capture. So in terms of challenge, probably these small tiny birds, especially a species called wren babblers, very fast moving birds. So the moment you are trying to focus, they are somewhere else. So these are very challenging kind of. So so that way also I have like favorite birds, which I have really struggled to capture. So
how about in Kashmir, ma'am? You have been here for I believe more than 2-3 weeks now.
I've been like 2-3 weeks before I came, and then again I had to go back, and then I came again 12 days back. Yes, so Kashmir has wonderful birds in terms of the distribution and range restricted species. So I have one particular story to tell about Kashmir birds. So there is this owl called the tawny owl here in Kashmir, especially in Dachigam National Park. So when I came here, Kashmir for the first time, I think it was 2009 or 10, in that time frame. It's the summers, and when I didn't know much about the birders here, because those times there were, Facebook and all, many the birders here were very senior birders, like Intisar Suhail, he's a chief wildlife warden, I think, in Hirpura. So he and all these kind of very senior birders, very established birders were there, but they might not have posted in Facebook and all that. So I was not aware of many such people birding here. So I used to, read it in the net, like where are the available birding places in Kashmir. So it was a lot of research work. So that is how I found Dachigam National Park. It's very good for birding. So I reached there, and there was this Nasir Malik, one forest person there. Okay. So he said, okay, I come. He's a very influential kind of person, and knows much about the flora and the fauna of Dachigam especially. So he told me, he was kind enough to tell me that he will come with me. So we went for a trek towards the upper areas, not upper Dachigam, but a day trek. So we started in the morning, then we saw some birds, and then came back. And then it was like summers, it was July, so it was about 7:45 p.m. in the evening. And then I see, just when we were coming down, there's this stony owl just sitting 1 meter away from us and calling. It is like so close, eye level, perfect shot. When you think from a photographer perspective, it is like a perfect shot. But then that was my initial times, and I was not equipped for night photography. I didn't know that you have to carry a flashlight to kind of take a photograph of the owl because it was already dark, just getting dark. So its pair, I think, was calling from the bush. So I just saw it and I enjoyed it, and then I thought, okay, next time I will come and click it. And then that search went on for some 8 years, Till 2018, I didn't get a picture of that. Been coming from occasionally.
2010 to 2018.
Yes. I've been on continuous search for that. And then there is one Dr. Riaz in, I think, Kashmir University. So he had some information from Aruvali above Pahalgam, right? Yeah. So there was this owl was spotted, something like that. One of his friends told me. So we went again, tried there. So how I have tried like in this years many times over different months, because I didn't know when they come out, when they do that. Season when they are active. So like that, it took like 8 years to get me the tawny owl picture in 2018, and that was right at the gate of Dachigam National Park.
So finally you...
Yes, finally I got a very good picture. So I'm very happy about it, yes.
That's great. Now let's talk about your work. Your work is published in different magazines and I believe in several media outlets. But we came to know about this thing that you do not take money for it when you give them your work for publishing.
No, actually, I do not. Yes, because this is I'm not a commercial photographer or a commercial. I do not work for any companies per se, and this is all my passion, and my family supports me. So it is like it's just a passion, so you do not sell your passion. Yes.
That's the reason. Yes. That's what I was going to ask. Why don't you charge them? Like, it's normal. People should know. Actually, wildlife photography, I think, especially in India, especially bird photography, it's just coming into and people are getting to know, and I think it's a great thing to let people know about that we have so much of good birds, and I think it is it's we're totally unfair if you charge. Yes. That's your perception. I believe most of the people, especially photographers, not most, I believe some of them would for sure charge them if you're taking wonderful pictures and all that and getting published.
In fact, I have the other experience. Many people sometimes when they write book, they ask our pictures and they just see. I can understand for research purpose. I'm fine. Yeah. But if they're making money out of it, then I think they should pay the photographers. Yes, that's very fair deal. Yeah. But there has been otherwise happening. So that is how it works. So you don't know.
Right.
So yes.
All right. Yeah. Ma'am, what about your family and friends who see you from being a chemical engineer, a scientist perhaps, and then shift towards photography? How do they see it? And how, obviously they support you, that you told us already, but how do they see it? How do they see this transaction from you, Jainy Maria, becoming from a scientist to a photographer? What's your response?
It's quite funny probably. My mother still doesn't have like that idea of quitting a job and going behind the birds. She doesn't like. She openly tells it, but she likes that because I am following my passion, and many especially like regional magazines or regional newspaper, when some news comes and when her friends and all calls her and tell, oh, your daughter's pictures have come, and then she feels like proud, so my mother is very supportive, but still sometimes she tells me, oh, why did you quit, like that. So it's been a kind support from my family, my husband, and also my brother. It's without support from the family, it is very difficult. Because I travel out of my house probably in a month. I would be like probably 15 days out, and it requires a lot of compromise for a family to also to make. So my husband, he has to take care of his own things, and he's busy with his work, so it's not easy. So it is a support basically, then only we can peacefully do. So whoever it is, like whether it's a man or a woman, you need support from the family. Otherwise it's difficult. And since I am not funded, and my funding is all from my family, my own people, so that's a care that they show for me. So I am very, very happy.
They've been doing it all
yes, I am very grateful for all of them and from my family. Yes.
I'm talking about wildlife. You think about the current situation of our globe, be it climate crisis and global warming, all in all these issues that we're facing, and due to which this wildlife is to quite some extent at risk. What's your take on it? How do you see it? What do you have to say about it?
That is true. I mean, it's unavoidable and it's happening. It's a reality. For example, if you might have heard about the polar bear, which we see in the Arctic, the ice regions. Because of the global warming, what is happening right now is that they do not have a continuous sheet, or they move on the ice sheet for long glaciers for like hours or like areas. They cover a lot of areas to feed. So when they have, because of the climatic conditions, there is like breakage in the ice, so they cannot move. They have to swim. And pregnant mothers, when they do that much of extra work, the babies are born weak, the cubs are born weak. So these things are happening, and as you know, that a lot of deforestation happening, a lot of pollution. So this is unavoidable, but that's how it is. And I think wildlife, through a little bit awareness, we can try whatever we can do
as a society.
As a society, yes,
yes.
So
make efforts.
I know it from my own case. Like after I started birding, practically all my family members are birders now, because they know, if they see something, I have seen this green colored bird there, what could it be, So my family, my friends from school friends and all, they are like very proud,
they're getting educated about all these things.
So right? it's a thing which we can, as an individual, we can make a lot of difference. So we can try. We are contributing from. There are several organizations also which contribute to these towards these kind of goals, like Nature Conservation Foundation, then Conservation India, all that. So
even the government is doing quite something. But again, at the individual like you in your profession or learning about these birds, and you share the information with your family, and they're becoming aware about it as well. So it's the process that we have to take part in as well as an individual, I guess.
Correct.
And so does.
Yes, as an individual, because we are just common people, right? We just go to our families and friends and talk. It's not like when the government does something, it's a different level. So when you do it, we are like at the root level, grassroots level. So that way it makes a lot of difference.
Let's talk about your future plans. What's in the future for you?
No, nothing.
Have you planned anything?
So many of my friends basically request me to write down whatever I have seen or the experiences, like the Tony Hall episode I told you, like that's good. The small experiences which whatever you can, they always tell me to write about it. Probably I can start writing something. And otherwise, my wish is to see as much as birds and also mammals. I cannot at the same time focus like mammals and birds, but I have gone for certain particular mammals out of my interest. So right now, today I'm sitting in front of you is like after clicking very good pictures of Markhor.
Okay.
So this is the mountain goat, which is like very endemic to this region. So I didn't in fact know that there is Markhors, there are Markhors in India, yeah. So Mudassir just told me last time when I came for the Tundra Swan, he told me that one of other friends, they had gone for Markhor. Then I thought, Markhor in India? That was my question. So then yes.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, it was a very surprise.
Kashmir
yes.
to you perhaps.
Yeah, because I've read about that mammal, and it's very interesting. If you've seen the pictures of that male Markhor, they have these horns, like they have counted in terms of the screws of the horns, amazing mammal. So I was very kind of fascinated by that mammal, so I just went, Mudassir kind of was along with me, and in this also he helped to get all the arrangements and permissions done necessary. So I'm very happy sitting here clicking the Markhor. Yes,
that's great. Well, it's an absolute pleasure for us
yes,
for Kashmir to be like serve you with a wonderful bird that you captured, right? So, ma'am, talking about photography and wildlife photography, there are certainly many photographers in Kashmir, documentarians as well, and budding photographers as well.
Right.
What would be your advice to them, being the expert in this field?
So with a caveat, I'm not an expert, but still, it's really amazing to see photographers and birders coming. For example, before I went to Uri for Qaiser Dar Wildlife Sanctuary for the Markhor, Kashmir Birdwatch, they have arranged a beautiful bird walk on that Sunday. Last Sunday actually. So there was the small girl who had come. She is 9th standard and her brother. So that I think the boy was in 11th standard, and a girl. She just finished her PhD in environmental science. She was there. Mehreen, her name is. I think she is into some conservation trust. I think she formed one trust for. Yes, and she and then 2 other PhD students, they all came. They were first timers. Mehreen was she was into birding or all these things, but there were these 2 other girls who were doing PhD. When they came, they just told me from just one of their beautiful days out, and so they enjoyed birding, and I was so happy to see them. They coming out on Sundays and looking for the birds. So this is a very good thing it's a very therapeutic, I would say, that if you work, even if you work or study whole week and then you come out on the weekend and have a great birding, I think it's a very wonderful thing. And people also get to know, the locals also.
Yeah.
So in Manasbal, when we were birding, Manasbal, there is a very good naturalist. His name is Umar. So he was there. His mother came with tea and biscuits and all that in the field. It is wonderful. So it's an involvement of the locals also. So they all get sensitized. I think it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, let us hope for. Yeah.
Most probably the youth should look for these.
Yes, and not only youth, you can start at any age, because my mother probably has started watching birds after I became a birder. Okay. So it just percolates from person to person, because it's a very positive passion, positive energy. So there are several photographers also from Kashmir, especially in Srinagar and all. They are doing a lot of good work. Mudassir, he started writing articles about his some of the birds and the mammals which he has seen. So these are very interesting things. People
these professions, especially in wildlife and all that, it becomes therapeutic, like you say.
Yes.
So it kind of relieves you.
Correct. It relieves you because we are all like a product. A part of nature. Part of nature. So whatever is there in nature, we enjoy it automatically without knowing it.
Yeah.
So these kind of birds or photographers, actually, when you post a picture, when you see the picture in the phone or in the Facebook or wherever it is, then you feel that wow, there is something like this. So when people start coming, and it's that liking and the passion passion which converts into something good.
Yeah.
So it's always a great thing. So it's my message for them would be like, yes, get out into the field and then make more pictures and get more birds and more get more locals involved in it, so that everybody, it's a collective effort.
Yeah.
So it will gradually become a collective effort. So Kashmir Birdwatch is doing a very good thing as of now, what I know, because they take people, budding birders, and then they kind of take to different places so that the newcomers come to know. And then they from there it picks on,
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. Wonderful. Yes.
You just have to start, and then afterwards you get.
Yes, you get. For me it was an addiction. So I think that is how it is going to be for many.
So they'll have to turn it into an addiction as well.
Yes.
Now, apart from being a photographer, this is my personal question I want to ask. As a human being, when you visited Kashmir, and you had been visiting Kashmir for a lot of time, as much as I know. So what's your experience? How's your feeling? Apart from being a photographer, let's just keep that aside. And as a human being only, what's your experience?
I feel amazing. I love the people of Kashmir. And I feel very warm. It's like many people sometimes, because of all this news and whatever, people sometimes is it safe to travel to Kashmir? That is one of the questions which I hear many times. It's like it's a true question. Many people ask me, but then I feel it is not. It's like it's not a problem. You can come any time to Kashmir. There are people who are very warm and welcoming. So I think people are getting sensitized about this, and they are. In the past 2 years, if you see, there have been a lot of bird watchers coming to Kashmir. So I feel that the people of Kashmir are awesome. So I like them. So and I've been staying with my friend's place, and it is a lovely experience of the hammam. I never knew something like that existed. Yes, it was like I came in the Chilai Kalan time. So it was like a freezing cold, and when my flight landed, it was -8 in the airport. That time, that was the Dal Lake got frozen.
Yes.
That was the day I landed.
Okay.
So it was like very cold for me, and then I go to my friend's house, and then it's just warm. Then I asked,
how's it possible?
Then he said, it is a hammam. The fire is coming from the ground floor. Then I told, because of the carpet, I didn't know that it was like in a concrete. I thought it's wooden.
A different kind of bricks they use.
I didn't know what it was. So I thought it's wood, timber. Then I thought, won't it catch fire? And I said, no, it is not that kind of a material. So we use it in very severe cold conditions. Yes. So that was a great experience at Mudasir's place, actually. His sisters, they were all they were also very curious that I didn't know what this was. Then they told me about the Turkish. I knew about the Turkish tradition of hammam, but I didn't know that it is used in Kashmir. And the food, I love food. Being a Keralite, we have a lot of similarity in food with Kashmir.
Yes,
so
Kashmir,
the rice and the curd-based gravy. So one of the food, I think they had one kind of curry which they gave me on the curd-based, and this is just exactly the same as we make. We make a lot of curd-based curries in South. So I feel very comfortable at home. At home, yes.
Exactly. So that was Jainy Marie with us. Thank you very much for joining us and having this wonderful conversation and talking about all the wildlife, bird photography things. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's like inviting me here, and it's an opportunity. I'm directly coming from the field, so it's a great experience. I've never done this before. Directly coming from the field and giving an interview, and thank you so much, you, and then all the team here, and Mr. Sumit, who had took the pain of calling me, and if whenever he told me whenever you come to Kashmir next time, you have to give an interview to us. So
absolutely. It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure.
So I take this opportunity to thank Kashmir Birdwatch also, because Mr. Intisar Sohail and there are other who work as a team, and Mudasir also to give me an opportunity to speak. So it's been wonderful here, and thank you, and I love all people of Kashmir. So yes.
That's it. Well, viewers, soon we'll be here with another expert to talk about their profession and life. Till then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.